All right, good morning, guys. Today is Friday, May 16th, and just waiting for New York market open. So I've marked up the pre-market high and I've marked up the pre-market low. So beginning next week, we should have a better indicator to mark up these levels for us. I've also noticed that, and we have about 2 minutes till market open. I've noticed that it's not just the days, or it's not just that day's market pre-market high and low, but also the previous, week, the previous days of the week, weeks or previous days of the week, highs and lows, pre-market highs and lows that were not retested. Because right here, if you can see this, you can see where price rejected from at the top here, other than this today's pre-market high that I've marked. This other blue line was for the pre-market high of Monday, I believe. I think so. Um, let me see something. No, the pre-market high of Tuesday. So that's where price rejected from today. So also here we currently, let me see what setups we have. We have a bunch of SAR rejection levels here. So the best one to take is this 4-hour buy. And we also, actually we're in a red zone, so never mind. So we can't take any buys currently because price is in a heavy supply zone. So even the pre-market low that's here, it's nowhere near demand. So we'll just wait and see what zones show up. And let me see something here. Okay. So we'll just wait. So we can take, so price is currently in a buy. I'm sorry, it's currently in a big supply zone. As much as we have SAR rejections here, let's watch. Where is this 4-hour EMA? This 4-hour EMA is in an area of, so let me look at something here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so let me see. How far is this? We see we have a bearish order block, but it's far away from, that's a little tricky. We are in a demand zone for the EMA, for the 4-hour EMA. So this 264 less 263 less 20, that's 243. Okay. So I'll take a buy. This EMA is getting closer to this order block right here, to this 4-hour bearish order block. This is kind of similar to the loss that I took on Monday. So if I draw a 20 point right here, because this 4-hour EMA has not been retested, you'll see that the order block is unfortunately in between the TP and stop loss, right? So this would have been a good trade. However, price, we just have that order block in the way. On the other hand, we do have this 256. Yeah, so this would have been, I think it would have been a nice trade, but unfortunately, we have that order block. So no need to rush anything. We have this bullish order block here, this hourly bullish order block. It's in an area of demand, even though we do. So for US 30, right now we're in a big supply zone. But let me see if these bearish order blocks are in the way of this bullish order block. So this bearish, so we have an hourly bullish high here. We have a bearish order block that's almost towards TP. And you can see, like, if we'd taken this trade for that 4-hour EMA, would have been close to, would have still been in drawdown because the entry would have been at 46. So this hourly bullish high, I think, is a better one. And the entry would be at 24 to, let me see something here. 46. Uh, let's see, 24, this would be 14, 214.4. So the entry here would be 214 somewhere here if price does come back. It is a little tricky because, okay, so for this one, the bearish order block is right next to TP. So I know one of the red flags is that there shouldn't be an, and also we just hit the pre-market low here. I would have taken this pre-market low entry, but you can see the pre-market low is in an area of supply as well. So for US 30, we're in a big supply area. Also, we have a bearish order block that's literally next to the pre-market low. So pre-market low, this wouldn't be a trade to take right now. 253. So the entry would be at 243, but unfortunately, we just right now for US 30, we have a big supply. We're in huge supply. Also, the other thing for US 30 right now is that given it's a Friday, and you know how Fridays can be, US 30 can keep dipping for the rest of the day, right? If we have this strong momentum to the downside, US 30 can easily keep pushing to the downside. So especially if we close below this bearish order block, we might keep pumping down. So even looking at that, I'm not sure. Let's see on the hourly. We might get an EMA rejection, but the next EMA rejection is this 15-minute EMA too, but prices, we are also next to a bearish order block. So we are inside this 4-hour bearish low. So if we don't reverse from here, I think US 30 will keep pushing to the downside. But let's see what price does when it gets to this zone. So this one would be a order block rejection scalp. Yeah, but I liked the buys this morning. Unfortunately, like if you look at where we are in strong supply zone, right? We have some demand zones, I think, somewhere in there, but it's pretty much just a strong supply zone where US 30 is. But yeah, so what I was mentioning, the pre-market, and by next week, by next Monday, I should have a better indicator for that. You can see where price rejected from this morning at the top here. This was Tuesday's pre-market high that hadn't been tested, right? So we not only need to pay attention to the current day's pre-market high and low, we also need to pay attention to the previous days pre-market highs and lows, the ones that have not been tested yet. Because you see here, on Tuesday, this pre-market high had not been tested up until today. And when we got to that area, because it was this blue line, this first one, we see we got a rejection from it. Price rejected, went past it by, I think, 7 points, about 9.4 points, right? So it really didn't, 9 points. It really didn't meet our 10-point threshold, but you can still see that we rejected from a pre-market high that had not been retested during the week. So I'll make a pretty much similar indicator to the EMA one, but for the pre-market highs and lows. And then we'll be able to also see from that indicator which pre-market highs and lows have been tested and which ones have not been tested. Now, Yesterday, there was the first loss of a pre-market high and low because it was this. So yesterday, the pre-market high was this one right here. And during the afternoon session where price pushed to the upside, this trade would have lost. So yesterday and we'll see how today goes. So today, of course, we wouldn't have taken this pre-market low because price is in a supply zone, and also we have an order block next to the pre-market low, so definitely it's not valid, right? But yesterday's pre-market high was valid. We had a supply zone, we had all these bearish order blocks, but price literally pushed through it. So yesterday would have been the only loss you'd have taken this week for the pre-market highs and lows. Monday was a win, Tuesday was a win, Wednesday was a win. So between Monday through Wednesday, you would have made, risking 1% per trade, you would have made 1% per trade and a 1:2 risk to reward, you would have made 6%, and yesterday you would have just lost 1%. So you'd have still been up for the week 5% if you're trading the pre-market highs and lows, the valid ones for this week. So, but yeah, next week I should have a better indicator for that. And today's live session will be a bit short. I have to drop off at about 9:50. So today's live session will be a bit short. No EMA entries. So the only EMAs, yeah, so we don't even have any EMA entry based off of where we are. See. I don't know what this was for. So I think the only trade we might get today is this hourly bullish high EMA, I'm sorry, hourly bullish high rejection scalp. It is in an area of demand. However, we do have overlapping supply in there. But of course, for the rejection scalps, we don't care whether there's an overlap. We just want to make sure that that zone has either supply if we're selling and demand if we are buying. And also yesterday in the afternoon session, there was only one valid trade. And unfortunately, I lost that trade. I think I took the loss somewhere here, somewhere in this consolidation area. There was a 15-minute SAR rejection here, somewhere here. But unfortunately, I took the L on that. But I'm still positive for the week, but hoping to get maybe one trade today in. If we don't get anything, then that would be it. And today on Friday, I only trade the morning session. I don't trade the afternoon session because again, for this rejection scalps, you want volatility in the market or some sort of volatility. For the SAR levels rejection, really there hasn't been any entries. There's still this gold one that we are following, the one that needed like $125 TP and stop loss. If we do push down on gold, this will be pretty interesting because yesterday, if you remember when we were analyzing the daily candle from yesterday, you can see how we rejected heavily on this daily candle and we pushed and closed with barely any wick on top. But price was brought down by this 9 EMA, but it would be pretty interesting if we close bearish today, because if we close bearish today, we might probably be getting into bearish territory on gold on the higher time frame. But we'll see. We'll see. Uh, it is. Oh, and I think we do also have news at 10. Let's see something here. Is it the consumer confidence, consumer sentiment? Yeah. So this news, the news at 10, it's crazy. This news at 10, it's normally not as crazy, but there are times that it triggers a big move in the market that's going to last the whole day, right? This consumer sentiment. So let's see. Oh, wait. Unfortunately, I won't be on the call for that news, but yeah, watch out for that 10 a.m. news. Yeah, so we're still stuck at this pre-market low. We're still stuck at this 4-hour EMA one. But overall, like if we look at the zones, we are in major, major supply area right here. We do have these pockets of demand in here. So it is possible still that those pockets of demand push price up, but we are in major, major selling territory. So even this hourly bullish order block entry might be a little tricky. So we've closed below the market. We've closed below the pre-market low right here. What I just need is maybe a quick trade for this one. And also, wait, no, we don't have any other EMA entry so far. 24. All right. For this trade, I would recommend you guys to use lower risk for this trade, ideally, because we do have this order block, bearish order block in the way. It's almost towards where the TP would be, but just because of that, use a use lower risk for this particular trade if it does come up. So since we are up for the week and overall, let's see, maybe use 0.5% instead of 0.25 or 0.75, or use 0.25. It's not the best setup. I still like it, especially since we also have this 15-minute EMA too here. Unfortunately, now this one I definitely wouldn't take because the bearish order block is literally in the middle of the stop loss, right? But this one I'm willing to take because the bearish, it's still not an ideal trade, but the bearish order block is just about where the TP is. Bearish order block is just about 2 points or 1 point away from where the TP would be. And if we get in lower here at the 10 point, the 10 point entry would even make the order block not be in the way at all. But since I'll be entering on the 10 point and I'll be entering on the 5 second change of structure, if you enter on the 5 second change of structure, actually for this one, if we enter on the 5 second change of structure, the order block might end up, this bearish order block might end up being like 50% of the take profit. Yeah, this pre-market low, if we didn't have this order block and if we were in a demand zone, man, this would have been such a nice trade because 251 would have been at 241 entry. Yeah, this would have been such a nice one if we didn't have all those opposing red flags. Uh, 953. All right, I'll stay on for like 5 more minutes, but I have to drop off before 10 or before even that news at 10. Right. Just see. I have some pretty heavy buying pressure. Let's see, what time is it? Yeah, I'll have to drop off shortly. So unfortunately, we didn't get anything during this live session. I have to go and join something else, but I'll still be looking for trades up until 11 a.m. Eastern time. But right now, I really don't see anything because all EMAs here, the 30-minute EMA one, hourly EMA one, and 15-minute EMA one have been retested. If we do close above them, we're in a supply zone up here, so I wouldn't even be looking to buy if we close above them. Only place I would be looking for an entry is maybe if we do get an SAR rejection to the upside or to the downside, depending on where the 10 a.m. news pushes price. We do have a pre-market high at 42. Let me see what price is this? 42 460. But again, for this week, I was just observing the pre-market highs and lows. I wasn't taking any trades on them. But if you want to take it, the sell would be at 42 470. That would be the selling area. So you can set a pending order there. And the other thing too, I don't think I would set a pending order before news events. I think because price can just spike through that 10-point threshold. So I wouldn't even look to do that. But beginning next week, I'll be taking the pre-market high and lows as rejection scalps. I just don't like starting statistics like in the middle of the week. But this week so far, pre-market highs and lows entries had 3 wins and 1 loss. That would have resulted to a net win of 5%. So again, those may not be the statistics like every week, but it's a good enough statistics to add that on to our strategy. So going forward, I'll just be focusing on and I need to drop off. I'll be focusing on the SAR rejection scalp, EMA rejection scalp, and pre-market high and low rejection scalp. And I won't really be taking the order block rejection scalp starting next month. But other than that, you guys have an amazing weekend. Talk to you guys later. All right, bye.